Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? En esta ocasión tengo el gusto de compartir con ustedes un episodio de podcast en el cual fui invitado a participar. Ese podcast es de mis amigos Padrino y César Jiménez. Su podcast se llama Emprenden. Y bueno, en esa ocasión me invitaron también para en conjunto también hacer una entrevista a Jim Cockrum. Para quienes ya tienen tiempo siguiéndome, saben quién es Jim Cockrum. Quienes no, pues les cuento brevemente nada más un pequeño background del mismo, ya que bueno, él tiene una comunidad muy grande en internet desde hace 20 años. Comenzó él a vender productos en eBay y desde entonces ha seguido explorando múltiples formas de generar ingresos a través de Internet, y una de las que más éxito o donde mayor éxito más bien ha tenido es vendiendo en Amazon, ¿no? Casualmente yo encontré su comunidad y su curso hace más de 6 años, y pues desde entonces, lo compré, entré en su comunidad, que obviamente, pues al ser de Estados Unidos, es todo está en inglés, ¿no? Prácticamente. No obstante, bueno, me integré, fui de los pocos primeros latinos que entraron allá en ese entonces. Y en ese momento es cuando empezaba a despegar el negocio de FBA, o sea, de Fulfillment by Amazon, que es esto de poder usar la logística de Amazon para poder enviar tus productos a sus bodegas y que Amazon se encargue de la logística de distribución, de entrega al cliente de esos productos una vez que se venden. Ese esquema era relativamente reciente en ese entonces, pues afortunadamente, te digo, encontré esa comunidad y me cambió la vida en muchos sentidos, ¿no? Porque fue la primera manera de generar ingresos online que realmente comenzó a sumar y a realmente a sentirse en el bolsillo, ¿no? En mi caso, y fue lo que sustituyó mi sueldo en 6 meses prácticamente después de comenzar a vender, ¿no? Y pues fue prácticamente lo que me ayudó o lo que me impulsó y me dio la seguridad, ¿no? El respaldo para poder renunciar, para poder dejar la vida de empleado hace más de 5 años. Entonces, pues él es Jim Cockrum, es una persona que yo admiro y respeto mucho, lo considero uno de mis mentores, y también tengo la fortuna de poderlo considerar amigo y realmente contar con su amistad, ¿no? Y bueno, este episodio del podcast en particular, pues se tuvo que hacer 100% en inglés porque Jim no habla nada, prácticamente nada de español, ¿no? Entonces lo hicimos de esa manera, y pues espero que logres comprender. Es muy fácil entenderle a Jim, tiene una pronunciación muy clara. El reto va a ser entenderme a mí, ¿no? Y a Padrino y a César, ¿no? Pero no, yo creo que nos salió bastante bien. Y bueno, pues sin más, te dejo con la entrevista, no te la quiero spoilear. Me parece muy, muy productiva, no tiene ningún desperdicio. Y bueno, en los enlaces de esta publicación vas a encontrar el curso de Jim, el curso que yo hice para vender en Amazon también. Y también los enlaces al grupo de Facebook de Jim, que no sé cuántos miembros tenga ahorita, pero va a tener más de 70,000. No he checado últimamente. Y también los libros que ha publicado, ¿no? Especialmente el de Silent Sales Machine, que pues ya va por la 10ª, 11ª edición. Es un libro muy pequeño, pero que es muy, muy, muy digerible y muy padre para que... o sea, a mí, en mi caso me ayudó a realmente otra vez a recalcar el tema de que sí era viable construir múltiples fuentes de ingreso en línea, ¿no? Y también te recomiendo muchísimo que te suscribas al podcast de Bros Emprenden, al canal de YouTube de Bros Emprenden, y te unas a su canal de Telegram también. Te voy a dejar también los enlaces, ¿no? Para que, bueno, si te interesa todo este tema de vender en Amazon, creo que es una excelente comunidad que apenas está empezando, pero que tiene integrantes muy, muy comprometidos, que están empeñados en ayudar a la gente. Entonces, te dejo sin más con el episodio, tal cual lo voy a dejar así como se reprodujo en el podcast de Bros Emprenden. Bueno, gracias a Padrino y a César de nueva cuenta, no nada más por invitarme, sino también por permitirme usar este contenido para mi canal, ¿no? Para mi podcast. Ok, perfecto, comenzamos.
Bros Emprenden Podcast es un experimento social en donde juntamos a los mejores vendedores de Amazon en un equipo multidisciplinario con una finalidad en común:
crecer juntos y hacer dinero como consecuencia. Hola y bienvenidos a un episodio más de Bros Emprenden. Ya ni les voy a decir, ya no voy a ir directo al punto, ya no voy a decir absolutamente nada. Hola César, buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás? Estamos teniendo problemas de audio. Un momento, por favor. Hola César, ¿cómo estás?
Excelente, Padrino. ¿Y tú cómo estás? Muy bien. Aquí encantado. Mucho honor en el episodio que viene. Va a estar súper padre. Adelante.
Ya, también quiero saludar a otro invitado especial. Ya no voy a decir ni quién está ni nada, pero otro invitado especial. El único, el inigualable Master Sosa. Bienvenido, Master Sosa.
Hola, Padrino, ¿qué tal? No, pues un placer estar aquí con ustedes nuevamente. Ya es la segunda vez que me invitan, muchas gracias aquí. Y en esta ocasión, bueno, pues con mayor gusto todavía porque tenemos aquí a Jim Cockrum, un amigo mío muy entrañable que, como saben, pues cambió mi vida en muchos sentidos y pues también la de ustedes y la de mucha gente. Entonces, pues estoy muy emocionado de estar aquí con ustedes. Les agradezco la invitación que me hayan hecho partícipe de esta entrevista también. Muchas gracias.
No, sí,
Héctor, no debes de spoilear el podcast. No tenías que haber dicho quién estaba con nosotros. No te creas.
No, es mejor que el Master Sosa lo presente, ¿no? Y estábamos hablando de que este es un episodio que es un parteaguas, ¿no? Porque de aquí estamos hablando de que nosotros, que somos la nueva generación de vendedores, estamos posicionándonos en los hombros de los gigantes como Jim Cockrum. Y en este momento voy a cambiar inglés para darle la bienvenida a Jim Cockrum. Jim, it's a truly honor to have you here. Thank you so much for everything you do, for everything you share, and for being here.
Gracias, mi amigos. Mucho gusto.
You got it. You see, you know more Spanish than what you said you know.
Yes, sí, un poquito. But thank you for doing this episode in English so I don't hurt myself or say something foolish.
No. Thank you so much. We're expecting that our audience speak or at least understand a lot of English because, we are very close to the United States.
Gracias, mi amigos.
So, Jim, tell us about your story, please. How did you start in a 5 minutes? Because everybody knows you here. So, but for the new listeners, just tell us your story about how did you start your group and everything.
Yeah, sure. I think all of us enjoy telling our own story, and we can go very long given the opportunity. But I want to make sure that the listeners understand from the very beginning of this show today that my only purpose being here is to make sure that they get something that they can use, that's useful, that helps them grow their business, improve their financial position. That's why we're here. My story, I could talk for far too long and go into it, but let's just say I've been using the internet creatively for over 20 years to launch and grow multiple income streams. And my team and I have helped thousands of other people do the same thing. And, I've got a beautiful family. I've been married for coming up on 26 years to my wife that we met in college, and 5 kids, one of which, three adoptions, and our only daughter is actually from Guatemala. So we spent about 4 months in Guatemala when we adopted her, and I picked up a little Spanish. We speak a little Spanish in our home, but I'm certainly not fluent. But that's probably enough of my story. I want to deliver content.
And that is awesome. So, no, thank you. We all know you. So, So, Cesar, do you have another question from the only one, Jim Cockrum here?
Yeah, like I was saying, this is such an honor to have you, as an invited over here in our podcast. We've heard on your podcast. I've heard Hector, and then I've heard all of your episodes. So I pretty much know everything you said on your podcast. And thank you very much for all the content you deliver to every one of us. And let me start with a small question. What opportunities do you think, or do you see in Mexico's marketplace, since we are here in the U.S.? Well, but sure. Hector is in Mexico.
Right. Well, I see the internet, and I'll answer your question, Cesar, but I want to put a little platform a little foundation before I answer your question. What the internet has done is level the playing field. And what that means is it no longer matters where you live. It's really irrelevant. Where you live represents advantages and opportunities and perhaps challenges that other people don't face, but the internet's the same for everyone. So the playing field is literally level now. Let's take the Amazon opportunity as an example. And that's just one of many examples I could give you, but let's talk about Amazon. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. You can buy and sell products on Amazon.com US. Doesn't matter where you live. We have students in countries where Amazon doesn't even exist. I have a student, for example, his name's Joseph. He lives in Slovakia. If you walked down the street in Slovakia and talked to 100 people and said, "What's Amazon?" They would say, "I don't know what Amazon." They've never heard of it. They don't have Amazon there. But Joseph has a thriving business on Amazon.com, buying products in the U.S. that he sends to a partner in the U.S. who preps those products to be sold on Amazon in the U.S. to U.S.-based customers. So Joseph in Slovakia is running an Amazon business in the United States. So where you live does not matter. So what's unique about Mexico? There's challenges there like any other place in the world. There's opportunities there like anywhere else in the world. And perhaps one of the best examples of evidence of that, of the proof of what I just said, is the guy sharing the screen with me. I hope I'm pointing the right way. Hector, he has built an incredible business from Mexico. And just to brag on Hector for a moment, he and I had a conversation. It's probably been 7-8 years ago. And I asked him, why don't you move to the United States? You're very successful. There's opportunity here. You could expand. You could be closer to the hottest products and to the sources of finance. And we'd love to have you. And he said, no, my heart is in Mexico. I belong in Mexico. I want to bring the opportunity to Mexico. And that has always stuck with me. It challenges me because I think each of us have opportunities right where we are now, where your family is, where your friends are, where those people you know, the business owners. There's opportunity there. You don't have to leave where you are. So your question, Cesar, is what's the opportunity in Mexico? It's the same opportunity that we all have. If you're using the internet right now to listen to this podcast, you literally have all the opportunities in front of you that any of the rest of us have. It's just a matter of mindset. You got to have the right mindset. You got to recognize that opportunity, and you've got to go after it, pursue it. Listen to great guys like Al, my buddy Padrino here, Cesar, Hector. You guys know how this business works. So start doing it. There's nothing unique or special or especially challenging about Mexico in particular. Does that help you? I mean, that's my mindset.
Yes, it does. Well, actually, the reason for that question is because our main audience is in Mexico, and sometimes they're struggling. Like you always say, they're putting something difficult to their lives or trying to make excuses not to start something. So I think, like Hector is always saying also, this is the time to start, and you should be starting like yesterday. So this is the best time to start selling online and also on Amazon, actually.
Well, we live in the greatest time in all of human history, guys. All of human history, all of recorded human history. For thousands of years, starting a business meant taking tremendous risks, very expensive risks, over a long period of time. And if it didn't work, it was potentially life-crushing. Like you had one shot because of all the time and the money, and you had to invent a product or build a building and put money and time and sweat and tears into this long process that hopefully worked out. And we were all told, if you went to a business school up until the mid-1990s, let's say, we were all told, your odds of success are very slim. You probably will fail. 9 out of 10 businesses fail in the first year. That's what we were taught in business schools. And for thousands of years, that was true. In the last 20 years, the rules have changed. You can start a podcast like this one with an inexpensive microphone. You don't have to go spend $200 on a microphone. You can use one of those cheap earbud microphones and go to a cafe where they have internet and record a podcast, create content, get your message out, begin sharing from your heart, attract an audience, find unique products and sell 1 or 2 or 3 of those unique products on a global marketplace. You can have an international business in a few hours. With very limited resources, you can try different business strategies. That's never been possible in the history of the world until the past 20, 25 years. So there's literally no excuse left to not try, to do something, even if you have very limited resources. The fact that you're hearing this podcast right now tells me you have everything you need to launch a successful business.
Boom. And yeah, on that regard, I'm Jim. I'm your fan. You know that I hear all of your episodes like several times of your podcast, and it's a long podcast. And I have been in your proven Amazon course. I finished it in like a month. But the most important thing that I learned from you, it was that you start small. I mean, most of the people when they don't have a course or something, they go to YouTube and start watching the gurus with the Lambos and the yachts and the beautiful women and everything.
Yeah,
we know that, right? But and the dream to be in that level is so so far away that if you don't start with the first step, you will not reach the goal. I mean, I'm not saying that the goal will be like being in the yachts and mansion and Lamborghinis, but I mean, if you start small and test your process, your product, your plan, that I really believe that is a gold mine. The most important thing that I learned from you. And thank you.
Well, that's really there's two ways the game has changed in the last 25 years or so. There's 2 big changes. One of them is it doesn't take a lot of resources to start. And the other is you can test very small, multiple ideas. So like what you're saying right now, Al, there's no reason to go super deep into any one strategy. Or an easier way to say it is don't write a big check. Don't spend a bunch of money. Don't do it. If anyone comes to you and says, hey, I've got a business opportunity, but you're going to need a lot of money to do it. Well, okay, that's for some people, but I don't pursue those opportunities. I pursue the opportunities that you can test small and see if it works. A few dollars, a few pesos, just a little bit of money, right? And see if it works. And if it does, you go a little deeper. If it doesn't work, you change directions, you try something different. But that's the opportunity that we have at our disposal now is you can test multiple ideas, multiple products, and it doesn't cost you a lot of time or energy or money to do so. So why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and as you always say, if we start changing $5 or 5 pesos bills to $20 or 20 or 45 pesos bills or 50 pesos bills, you can start small and prove your concept, and you will make mistakes, but you will not fail big. And also,
that's right.
The beautiful of Amazon is the democratization of the market, because it doesn't matter if you have big money or less money. The opportunity is the same for everywhere. As you say in your course or in your coaching, it doesn't matter if you come with 30K, 50K. Here, we're not doing that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter if you have really big money. You need to start from the base. You need to start from the base, learn the system, and make money then. But it doesn't matter. You can start with a lot of money or with a little money, because the democratization of the market.
Yep. It doesn't matter how much money you have. Mm-hmm. We want you to start small and test small, which means you're losing small and you're finding those winning opportunities, and you can slowly and gradually build on those opportunities. It's even biblical. There's a scripture, I don't remember off the top of my head where it is. It's in Proverbs, though, that says wealth hastily gained, which means, making money quickly, you're going to lose it quickly. And as we're recording this podcast, I think a great example is Bitcoin. How many people went from a few thousand to tens of thousands, and then as we're recording this today, they lost those tens of thousands in one day, as Bitcoin just spiked up and then dropped down. That's the nature of money. If you accumulate it slowly, you'll have it a long time. If you accumulate it quickly, you're going to lose it just as fast. So we've adapted that strategy into everything we teach. Slow and steady wins the race. It's the children's book, right? The tortoise and the hare. How do you say tortoise and hare in Espanol?
La tortuga y la liebre.
La tortuga y la
liebre. What's rabbit?
Liebre.
Liebre?
It's not a rabbit, but because rabbit is conejo, but liebre is like a type of Mexican conejo,
Gotcha. Well, that children's book, though, that's a great lesson. The tortoise and the hare. That's a great business lesson. And I think it's one of the most important business lessons that you can adapt into your life is you've got to take a slow and steady approach to business. Don't try to ramp up fast. You can't. You're going to fail. Something will break. It's not going to go well for you. You want a slow and steady path. And Amazon represents that opportunity. You can sell just a handful of items at a time. You don't have to go buy 100 or 1,000 units of anything. You can buy 1, 2, 3 items at a time and test very, very small and build up slowly and be selling to millions of potential customers within just a few days.
So, Hector, can you tell us, how do you meet Mr. Jim Cockrum?
Well, sure, of course. Well, it was about maybe 6 years ago, I think, in 2015, when I was looking for online business opportunities. I was looking for several ways to, build online income streams. I had failed like 2 or 3 times trying to do several things, and I stumbled upon the Amazon business opportunity, but I was trying to do it with the less amount of money as possible, because I couldn't afford a $5,000 online course. That I actually knew about this business opportunity because I attended a webinar where they they were pitching that kind of courses. And I said, well, I cannot afford this. And so I started to research online about, alternatives. And I found the Proven Amazon course and the My Selling Team community. And then I walked back and I did it like in a month, just like you, Patrino. And I started selling. This approach that James teach is the same approach that I teach to my students. Basically, this approach is start small. Even if you have the money, you have the big pocket, you don't have to invest a massive amount of money. Actually, you shouldn't. And this approach of Jim that it is inch deep, mile wide. That is
deep, mile wide.
Yeah, that is about testing several products and only going deep in those that you find really potential, and that potential is you find out that the market tells you actually what those products are, because they buy it. When they buy your products, you know that they want it, and then you can go deeper on those products. And this approach is the same I use. I've been using it for 5-6 years now. And the slow and steady wins the race, as James teaches. I'm a living proof that it works. So that's the way I met Jim. And then I went to the Consult, Expand, and Sell conference that now it is known as Proven Conference in 2016, I think. And well, that's where I actually had the opportunity to talk to Jim for the first time, and that's where we became friends.
We talked about Mexico, yes, yeah. You nearly brought me to tears, man.
Yeah,
because I wanted you to move to the United States, and you said you were almost hurt. I remember it very clearly. The expression your face was pained. And you were searching for the right words. You didn't want to insult me. You didn't want to but you wanted to say what was in your heart. And I'll remember it the rest of my life. You truly have a heart for Mexico, and you're right where you are supposed to be. And that may change in the future. Who knows? But I know that you'll always have a heart for Mexico. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you might live 10 years from now, but I know what's in your heart. And you are an incredible leader. And you care for the people who are following you. And everyone listening to this would be wise. If they speak Spanish and want to learn internet marketing, they'd be wise to follow you and to pay attention to your message.
Thank you very much, Jim. I'm only trying to teach most of the principles you teach to me. You teach me a lot of mindset concepts, and this thing about money, the way I see money now is really very, very similar to your view about money. The Daniel Lapin's vision, that changed everything to me. That vision changed everything because, we talked about this, that in Latin America, especially, the poor countries in general tend to see business as something evil and something that you shouldn't be doing. And if you earn a lot of money, it's because you are doing something wrong. And that vision alone is misleading and is destroying a lot of lives here, because this conception or this misconception about money prevents them to build wealth and to serve others, and that changes everything. That mindset actually is the most important thing I believe I can teach, and I've been teaching it and sharing it to as most people, the most people I can. And thank you very much for that.
I don't know a lot of Spanish, but I do know a fair amount about the word ganar. Am I saying right? Ganar dinero, right?
Ganar. Mm-hmm.
Ganar, right? And that word can imply, like if I find some money on the street and I pick it up, ganar dinero. Or if I work hard all day and I get paid at the end of the day, ganar dinero. Mm-hmm. Or if I win some money, ganar dinero. It applies to anything I do to receive. Whereas in the Hebrew language, there's very strong distinctions made. Finding money is very different than earning money and having it given to you through a transaction where you served another person. It's a very different, completely distinct concept in Hebrew and somewhat same in English. So almost built into the Spanish language at times is this concept that finding money is the same as earning money. It's the same thing. It's not strongly distinguished in the Spanish language. There's almost a disadvantage there in the mindset that you have to be intentional. So I very much value the message that you're carrying, Hector, and helping people understand the value of a transaction. And I love sharing this every opportunity I get. The value of a transaction. In the Hebrew tradition, the biblical Hebrew tradition, a transaction is the beginning of a mutually beneficial, lifelong relationship. That's what a transaction is. Both parties win, and they continue to win together through life as a result of a transaction. And that's why business is beautiful. It establishes the best relationships you'll ever have in your whole life if it's done properly. I'm not talking about stealing money. That's very different. I'm talking about selling you a product that you want and you would have been willing to pay far more money for. And I'm happy to sell it to you at that price. I'm making a profit and you're getting a product that you would have paid more money for. That's a beautiful thing. That's a mutually beneficial transaction, which leads to a good relationship. And that's not just ganar dinero. That's the beginning of a lifelong mutually beneficial relationship. There's a lot more going on there than ganar, right? There's a spiritual side to that whole thing. So I appreciate the message that you're carrying, Hector, and on this podcast as well for Al and Cesar. Great job, guys. The Spanish culture needs this, and I love your mission of helping the people of Mexico understand how important this distinction is.
Thank you very much.
Yep. We're also always trying to let people know how difficult it is to change your mindset and trying to understand why you need to change your mindset. Because like Hector is saying, it is difficult coming from a culture like from Mexico or Latin America where people think that having money is something that you shouldn't do, or it's something bad, or like Hector was saying, it's evil or something like that. But yeah, like you always say,
Go ahead.
Like you always say that, and actually there's no translation or there's no word for earning money in Spanish.
Right. It's ganar.
Yep.
But it should be earn. There needs to be a word. I love that. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. There's no word for earn. Mm-hmm. But in serving, you've earned. We call it a certificate of appreciation. That's what a peso is. That's what $1 is. Matter of fact, when I'm speaking in front of audiences sometimes, you referenced Pedrino, you referenced my good friend Daniel Lappin, and I learned this from him. He'll say, I need a volunteer. I need someone to hold up a $20 bill, and I'm going to do a trick. And he'll have someone in the audience hold up a $20 bill, and he'll say, would you be impressed if I told you exactly how you got that $20 bill? I know exactly how you came across that money. And he'll say, first, I have a question for you. Before I do my trick, I have a question. On your way into the meeting today, did you steal that $20 bill from an old lady whose purse was open in the lobby? Did you take it from someone illegally in some fashion? And they'll say, well, no, I didn't steal the money. Okay. And he'll say, okay, now that we've established you didn't steal the money, I know exactly how you got that $20 bill. You got it by serving one of God's other children. That's the only way there is to get the money. Either a friend gives it to you willingly, or you earn it by serving another one of God's children who willingly gave it to you in exchange. So we call it a certificate of appreciation. It's evidence that I served one of God's other children well. That's all money is. It's evidence I served well. And a good transaction is one that begins a mutually beneficial lifelong relationship. So I teach my kids that a good transaction is one where 6 months later, both people think back to that transaction and still think in their head, that was a good deal. Right? It's because that means there's a relationship behind the transaction. That means both parties truly did benefit. So yeah, that's a mindset shift for a lot of people, but that's how you have to see it. That's how money works. That's God's gift to us, is monetary exchange. It's biblical. It's established in the Bible as a concept. Money didn't just randomly happen. It came out of the Hebrew culture, and it's a biblical concept for those who want to study. Yeah, Daniel Lapin's materials are fantastic. That's actually my favorite podcast is Lapin's podcast.
Yeah, very awesome. I also hear that podcast. Very, very, very good podcast. But so that shift in mindset is very important because right now in Amazon Mexico, for example, we have Intel. Last year, the Amazon Mexican market grew 48%. I'm sorry, 23%. Last year. And we have also Intel that this year is already growing 48%. So the opportunity is humongous big for everybody, either for the sellers that we are here and we can send stuff to sell in Mexico, because right now the sad thing that is happening in Amazon Mexican market is that is flooding with the Chinese products. Why? Because the Chinese, for the tariff, they are doing some tricks at the border, to pay less taxes for import the stuff, and it's cheaper from them to storage those products or those widgets in Mexico, and also they can send in Mexico. So it's a beautiful deal from them, But the opportunity here is that the Chinese sellers are not sophisticated, so they are just throwing like a products in Amazon Mexico, and they don't care. They are selling in the United States,
Right.
But that mindset that we can compete in global markets is very hard for our Mexican audience. It took me a lot of time for me to educate about a mindset and markets and competitiveness and all this stuff because I have been spending 10 years here. But for the Mexican population, it's very hard to believe that, unless you are Hector Sosa, that's why he's Hector, right? But for everybody else, and that's why he's here. But it's very hard. It's very hard to believe that we can beat the Chinese or we can compete with a global economy, no?
Yeah.
But this mindset and these principles can help us shift the mindset.
Actually, it is quite difficult to people anywhere in the world, I believe. But here in Mexico, at least I see that our culture is somehow programmed to believe that we cannot achieve big things, that we are not meant to greatness. And we have it in the movies, we have it in the TV, in the stories we tell. Our own history tell us that we are a conquered civilization. Even before the Spanish came, we were, somehow enslaved and, poor we were suffering already, So our culture comes from there. So it's really difficult. But once you see, and that what helped me to really believe that we were really capable of anything as any American guy. Was the first time I went to the United States in 2008, I believe, as a grown-up. I went when I was a kid, the Disneyland thing and so on. But the first time as an adult was in 2008, and when I was, arriving to Atlanta, and I saw the beautiful houses there, beautiful pools and gardens and big houses. And I said, if these guys can do it, why not? Why I can't? Why cannot I do the same? And why we in Mexico cannot live like this? Is possible. As Jim just said at the beginning of the episode, the internet is leveling up the play field to everyone. So I absolutely agree with you, Jim. And that's why I have no plans to move from Mexico, because I can do more impact, actually, I think, living here in Mexico, because I'm serving a lot of people that needs to listen and needs to understand and needs this message. And that's in so many ways thanks to you, Jim. When I saw you and when I saw the audience in your conference, 500 people there, and they all have the same mindset, the mindset of helping each other and build relationships and achieving goals together and going forward together. That changed everything. So I appreciate that every day, and thank you very much, Jim, for that.
Thank you. I think what I'm going to have to do with this episode is play it for my full audience, because I'm having a fantastic time. I love this. I might use it as one of my own episodes if that's okay. But I want to go off of what Hector just shared and say, you talk about leveling the playing field. I like to say it this way, guys. I don't care what challenges you have, what handicaps you have. You could say, well, I don't have an education, or I came from a poor family background, or I live in a difficult part of the world, or I'm sick, or, I don't understand the internet, or whatever your excuses are. You can make those excuses out on a piece of paper, okay? Just imagine you've made your list. I will find somebody who has a list that is 5 times bigger than yours. It contains all of your excuses plus 5 times more excuses that you didn't think of or that you've never had to face, the challenges. You think you're too old, or you think you're too young, whatever. Let's fill up that list. But what those people have that you don't is a thriving, successful business online. They're making a lot of money using the internet creatively. I'm one of those guys. I have a great excuse list. I barely got out of college with passing grades. I have trouble focusing for long periods of time on anything. I'm very scatterbrained at times. I get bored easily. I don't like reading books. I've made myself become a reader. That's a choice I made, but I don't like to read books. I'd much rather be fishing and play basketball all day. Those are my hobbies of choice, but I've disciplined myself and I've trained myself to pursue those things that I want. But I have a long list of excuses. I didn't come from money. I was raised on a farm with very little income. We had chickens and cows, and I did chores. I could very easily say, I don't understand the internet. I'm too old. There's plenty of people my age that just don't use the internet. They don't want to use email. I'm right on that edge of people who are of that age where you could say, I don't need that stuff. Right? I have all those excuses. I could build a big excuse list. But yet for the last 20 years, we've sold millions of dollars of products and helped tens of thousands of people around the world launch and grow businesses. Why? Because I made the decision to pursue it. It's a decision. Your excuses simply don't matter. It's whether you decide you're going to pursue the opportunity or not. It's a decision. That's all it is. So whatever your excuse list is, and that's something I love about our podcast, guys, is I've had Hector on there. I've had other guests on there from around the world, people with different challenges. They barely speak any English, or they're bedridden, literally. They can't leave their bed. They're in bed all day, every day. And they're running a successful internet-based business. They've got multiple streams of income. It's incredible. So whatever your excuse list is, there's people who are worse off than you who are doing exactly, not just Amazon, but there's all kinds of other opportunities. So let's talk about China, for example, because when I heard you talking about China, Al, I heard the same thing that Hector did. And rather than talk about how to defeat Chinese competitors, I say you take your eye off the competition and you look at the blue ocean of opportunity where the competition isn't even touching it yet. There's so much opportunity out there that you don't want to get stuck looking at your competitors and trying to beat them. You want to be playing in a blue ocean of opportunity where there isn't any competition. Right now on Amazon around the world today, tens of thousands of new products were added to the marketplace. Hundreds or thousands of those products will go on to be successful. It doesn't matter what happens in China. It doesn't matter what happens anywhere else. There's opportunity constantly being presented. And there's plenty of products right in Mexico, and Hector's proof of this. Right in Mexico, Chinese can't get their hands on those products, but you can sure package them up and send them to the United States and sell them, form creative partnerships with other sellers who are already in the United States and test a few small ideas. I'd love for you guys to send me a few ideas and say, hey, Jim, here's 2 or 3 of this item, 2 or 3 of that item. Let's test it on the Amazon marketplace. Let's see how it does. I'd love to work in those kind of arrangements. And I'm in a community with thousands of people who think that way. Yeah, let's partner up. Let's test ideas. Let's try some new strategies, right? So what China's doing is irrelevant to me. I spend no time worrying about what China is doing on Amazon, ever. It has no impact whatsoever on what we do.
Yes, and of course, but my point was that we have a geographical advantage with them, and we can beat them in the freight, because and it's easy for us. We are closer. We have trade agreements. We have everything. Why we are not doing it? Is my point. And every episode,
it's a mindset.
Yeah, and that's why I'm yelling every time in every episode of this podcast. Why are not doing it? And when I ask that question, is like, oh no, the Mexican government put new taxes in e-commerce. It's so complicated. Or if I send some products over there, the drug dealers will kidnap my truckload or whatever, my packages and everything. No, I mean, yeah, sometimes I just feel hopeless. Because I'm yelling every episode about this, and apparently everybody is listening to us now, but we're trying very hard,
Yeah. Well, I think the mindset message is very powerful and something you should continue to focus on, because every business has risk. Every business involves risk. I don't care if it's drug dealers stealing your products as they cross the border. If you owned a traditional store with brick and mortar, you've got shoplifters, you've got the risk of fire, you've got lost inventory that never arrives, dishonest suppliers that try to overbill you for products they never ship to you. Every business involves risk. That's why I call people who build businesses, I call them warriors. You've heard me on my podcast. I refer to everyone who's trying to build a business as a business building warrior. It's war. Serving your customers well involves risk. It's a battle. It's hard. You'll fail frequently. Everyone in business does that. You've got to become friends with failure. And each time you fail, you have a choice to make. Each time something goes wrong, you have a choice to make. You can focus on what you just lost, and you can feel sorry for yourself and focus on the loss, or you can shift and focus on the lesson. What did I just learn? How can I prevent that mistake from happening again? What do I need to do differently next time? And if you consistently focus on the lesson, you'll find yourself making fewer and fewer mistakes. The losses will come with less frequency. It's called wisdom. You operate in wisdom. You'll have good relationships and people that you can go to and turn to the solution to every challenge that you're going to face ever in business. The solution, every single time, it's the same thing. It's a person. It's a person. Hector knows he can call me. I may only talk to him once a year, but if he ran into a challenge and he needed someone in the US that understands Amazon to help him solve a problem, he knows how to get a hold of me. And of course, I'd do everything I could to help him. The solution would be a person. So every time, that's why I focus so much on relationships, because the solution to every challenge you're going to face is a person. Maybe you haven't met them yet. But if you keep trying and you keep focusing on the lesson and you keep reaching out and building relationships, you're going to have a network of people that can assist you through any problem. Do you guys know the story of Jack Welch? Do you happen to know who he is? Jack Welch. Does that name mean anything? He was the CEO of GE, General Electric, one of the biggest companies in the United States. Now, this is several years ago, but I love this story. It illustrates what we're talking about right now, Al. I think you guys will like this. So GE was struggling. They were going under. Their stock price was dropping. Their products weren't selling. Their company was struggling. This is a company that employs tens of thousands of people with, millions of stockholders around the world. They needed to save their company. Who did they call? They called Jack Welch to come in and save their company. Now, what is it about this old guy that made him so valuable to GE? It was the connections he had, the people he knew, the problems he could solve by picking up the phone and getting the right person involved with the challenge. And he turned that company around in a very short time. He turned that company around, and you can read about it. Jack Welch turned GE around. Their stock price shot up. Their products started selling again. The company was saved. All those jobs were saved because of one guy and the connections that he had, the relationships that he had. It wasn't the knowledge in his head. All he did was go to work and sit behind his desk with his telephone, right? And he didn't even have a computer at this time. He had a secretary with a typewriter, but he turned that company around because every challenge that was presented on his desk, he knew someone he could call in that could help smooth out the situation, get them past that challenge. He put the right people in place. That's why a CEO gets paid millions of dollars. It's not because they have some special superpowers and they're so much smarter than the rest of us. It's because they have connections. Another example of that is George Bush, Jr. George Bush. It was the second Bush presidency in the United States. He was once asked what one of his secrets were to his success in life. I mean, because becoming president of the United States is obviously a big challenge. And he was asking, give us some strategies, tips for success. He wrote a thank you letter. I think it was every day. He would handwrite a thank you letter to somebody who had helped him in some way, someone who'd helped him in life or in business, or an old college professor, someone. He would just handwrite. So he built this incredible network of people that he had relationships with that he could call on when he needed them. And he took advantage of it when he needed it, right? So that is a huge advantage, and that overcomes any challenges that you're going to find. But it does take effort. Relationships don't just happen, they take effort. I'm talking too much, I'm afraid.
No, of course.
It's right.
Of course not.
Yeah, relationships is everything. Sorry, Pedrino. Relationships is everything. And that phrase, it is one of the I believe most important from the message you have, because we underestimate the power of relationships. In Mexico, we see that as we call them palancas, which is the guy who knows the guy who can make easier the things to you. Maybe avoid paying taxes, or maybe don't pay that fine you have. Cheat on something. it has a negative
it's a negative.
connotation.
That sounds like a negative term.
Yeah, that's what it is. Palancas is that. It's a negative relationship.
It's a leverage, but it's a negative one.
Yeah, negative leverage. Exactly.
Interesting.
That's what it is.
I'll have to add that to next time I talk about Ganar. You said palancas.
Palancas. You know, the thing that we use to change the gears when we are driving, this kind of thing that you use, this stick. I don't know how to say it in English, but that's
stick shift.
Yeah, the stick shift. That's the term for palancas. So, I don't know why we chose.
No, it's another great example. I think culturally there are some potential disadvantages if Spanish is your only language and you think of anyone who can help you as almost like an unfair advantage and you're manipulating the system. And getting me out of a fine for speeding is the same thing as helping me solve a business problem. It's both a palancas, right? No, those aren't the same thing. One of them is an illegal, immoral activity. I actually heard a story one time about a guy who went to a friend of his who was a judge because he had a ticket. So he'd got a speeding ticket, but he knew the city judge. He was a good buddy of his. He went to church with him. He went to the judge and he said, hey, could you take care of this for me? And the judge said, yeah, I got it. No problem. I'll take care of it for you. It was like a $200 speeding fine. Well, he got back to the judge later and said, hey, thanks for taking care of that for me. How'd it turn out? And he said, well, I paid the $200. He said, that's not what I meant. I didn't want you to pay the bill. I just wanted you to take care of it. He said, that's what I did. I took care of it, right? So I'm talking about taking care of challenges with integrity, not with a dishonest, immoral approach. There's a very big difference. So palancas is a different thing than let's think through this and solve this without sacrificing our character. There's always a solution that involves keeping your character. You know, that audience of one is how I put it. It's one thing to impress you guys and to make you guys think I'm great and all impressive and that's great and have the applause of a crowd. They're clapping for you at the end of the presentation. That's great. But none of that matters. One day we all stand before the one who created us and he knows our hearts. So I don't need palancas. I need integrity. I need solutions, creative solutions that I can be proud of, that I can tell my grandchildren about someday, every detail, and tell them how we navigated challenges with my friends. That's a very different thing, right? Being proud of what you're building and doing it with integrity. So don't fall into that trap of thinking that a palancas is the same as a creative business partner who's helping you solve a challenge.
No, we always say together we will win. Together. I'm trying to preach that phrase together. You will not be successful alone. In my computer, in my room, nobody. I'm doing very important stuff. Don't call me, don't bother me. Together we will win because if somebody has a problem, we can call each other or just listen to.
That's right.
That's why we create masterminds and all the good stuff,
Yes.
But we are in that regard of the mindset and everything, and the warrior, the building, the warrior topic. I want to say we are the new warriors, We are
building warriors. Yep.
Sorry, thank you. Business building warriors. We are the new generation that. We have been trained for the best of the best, Jim Cockrum. So, no pressure, no rush. I mean, you are doing great, Jim. But we have been training with the best, and we have a lot of responsibility for the generations to come. And that will be part of your legacy because at this point, it's not about money or selling the stuff on Amazon. It's about the legacy and the new generation and the things that you have been building for 28 years. That you are giving us the opportunity to spread your message and be kind of your legacy from the proven Amazon course, the pack. Yeah.
Sure. Well, go ahead. Here's my response to what I hear you saying right now. And I appreciate your enthusiasm, Pedrino. I truly do, but I've got to deflect it on back further than me to the people I learned from, to my mentors who got me to where I am today, to the great authors that I've read, the teachers I had that cared for me, my wife, who, while she doesn't necessarily enjoy business, she's brilliant and she understands relationships and she's a great advisor to me. She can read people really, really well. You should be nervous if you meet my wife because she's going to know a lot more about you than you realize very quickly. and she's told me about people long before I figured it out myself and the person revealed who they really were. She can see into people. So I've got this advantage of all these great people, these mentors, people who have spoken in my life, and these timeless truths. I don't say it lightly when I say the greatest book ever written for business success is the Bible. The lessons in there are simply incredible. There's a few thousand years of what we call a longitudinal study, which means you look at a group of people over a long period of time. That's what the Bible is. And it's continued to apply today. The advantages that you get from applying those principles. So all I've really done, Pedrino, is I've taken those timeless principles, those proven strategies that have worked throughout history for building a business, and I've applied them to e-commerce. I didn't invent anything new. There's nothing original in my message. It's timeless truths mixed with a new tool that happens to be available to us now through technology, this new communication tool. That's all I've done. So I can't really take credit for a whole lot, except I didn't allow a lot of junk to get mixed into the message. I'll take credit for that. A lot of garbage to mix into the message. You're not going to find any stacks of cash or Lambos on my sales page. It's going to be slow and steady progress in the right direction. And eventually you will have the resources to buy those kinds of things if that's meaningful to you. But it's not an emotional decision that I want people to make. It's a warrior's journey. If you're going to go on a warrior's journey, you're going to take an oath and you're going to commit to that path. And hopefully you're not doing it in a moment of, enthusiasm that you're going to regret later. It's a serious life decision to go down the warrior's path. You're going to be misunderstood. You're going to be misjudged. You're going to have people doubt you. You're going to have friends and family think you're a little crazy until it starts working, and then they want a job, right? But you're going to have those challenges along the way that you've got to commit to that path over the long term. It really, I think warrior is the best word I can come up with. It's a warrior's journey. It's hard. There are casualties. You'll see friends fail and fall, but you stay the course of that journey you're called to. And I'm honestly not trying to build a legacy. If I'm forgotten when I'm gone, I'm okay with that. But I want to do what I do with excellence with the time that I have from that audience of one, right? I'm serving him. I want God to get the glory for the work that I do. And I want to serve my family and my customers well with the time that I have and the resources that I have.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, yeah, I will be not more excited than that. No, but to my point, I understand. But to my point is that the things that you build, all the community of coaches, the proven Amazon course, everything you have been built is because your leadership and your integrity. Without that, you cannot hold it. The big community, the big everything you have built, you cannot sustain it if you don't have integrity and leadership. And I understand that we just have one big boss and the community of one. I understand that. I get that. But the things that you have been built are very amazing, and it have been changing so many lives that, we can spend hours here, but we felt very inspired from you.
Thank you.
From not for your person, not for Jim. See, it's because the things that you have been create is not your your human presence, you know, and the legacy that I'm talking about is not. I mean, we're not related. I mean, whatever. But I mean, it's not for. It's for your knowledge and the thing that you build is in our legacy because that already changed my life, and well, that is what I'm talking about.
The only difference between where I'm at now, Padrino, and don't take it lightly when I say this, the only difference between where I am now and where you are is time. My definition of trust that I love the most, and you talk about integrity, my definition of trust is consistency over time. That's how you get trust. So be consistent in your message, truly believe it, internalize it, live at that standard, regardless of what others around you do, hold that standard. It doesn't guarantee you're going to succeed because, as one of my favorite mentors says, John Wooden, he said, your reputation is what others think of you. Your character is who you really are. So protect your character. Your reputation isn't necessarily up to you. I've been blessed because I've been given a great reputation in front of the vast majority of people who have come through our organization. But the truth is, there's plenty of people out there that they had a negative experience of some kind with us, and they moved on. They weren't happy with a product or a course. They're perhaps very unhappy that I say very controversial things sometimes, like things like, I personally believe that a marriage is one man and one woman for life. That's my definition of a marriage. Well, I've just offended a large number of people by saying that, right? So they're no longer excited to hear what I have to say. I'm fine with that. I'm fine, but I'm going to be consistent over a long period of time with my message. And that's going to attract in the right people. And that's all I've done. So the only difference between where I am and where you guys might be, Hector's a little further down this road than you are, Padrino and Cesar, but you're on the right road. Stay consistent in your message, internalize it, truly live by and believe what it is you're sharing. Share with an open hand what you know. As you learn new things, share it. And I think one of the secrets to success long term, if you think of some of the gurus and experts and people that have large audiences in this industry, one of the things that I stay away from is being thought of as the guy at the middle of the organization, meaning here's a guy and he has a bunch of followers. I don't want to be a guy with a bunch of followers. I don't need Hector to follow me. I don't need Padrino or Cesar or anyone listening today to follow me. That doesn't do anything for me. I think it's a much preferred position to be one of many leaders who gather. I want to surround myself with leaders that I can lean on and rely on when I need them. And perhaps I'm the guy that opens up the door and turns on the lights and sets up the seats. That's irrelevant. Maybe more people know my name than they know your name. That's irrelevant. But we're leaders. We're a community of leaders. So I don't want to be a guy who has fans and followers. I want to be a guy who's a part of a community of leaders, business building warriors, all engaged in the same battle, trying to serve our customers well, learning from each other, leaning on each other, and growing together. So if I have a stage, I want it to be a big stage. And I'm not the only guy on the stage. It's everybody who is capable of leading and has a message of integrity to share. That's who I want on my stage with me. So that's why I'm so resistant to be, my definition of success is very different than most people's, I think. It's not how many people who know who I am. It's how many leaders am I surrounding myself with that I can lean on and learn from, because the crowd will always be smarter than any of us. I don't want to be the smartest guy in any room I'm ever in, and I'm not the smartest guy right now. I mean, I'm surrounded by guys that speak Spanish and have a message for the Mexican people that I can never come up with on my own.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Jim, we want to be respectful of your time. I just want to touch on Hector and Cesar. Guys, do you have any other question from Jim? Last question.
You, Hector, go ahead. And I'll have a last question at the end.
Okay. Well, I want to. I was thinking about when you were talking about failures, which is a really important part of the journey, and we will fail, and sometimes we'll fail massively, and
Yes.
As you know, the higher we go, you know, the bigger the potential hit is quite bigger. And so in this journey of 20 years you've been at this point, you know, if you're comfortable sharing some of your biggest failures, just to give people a look, you know, a little taste of how hard can you fail and what it takes to recover or to keep going forward, even if you fail so massively, because we all fail. I've been failing for 7-8 years now, and I'll keep doing it. But I will love to hear from you, which you have more than double the time I've been here. So I think that should be it will be very useful for the audience.
There's a lot of wisdom in that question, Hector. I appreciate that so much, and you're absolutely right. The longer you stay on this path, the more you've all heard that, with a lot of money comes a lot of problems. You've heard that. And it's somewhat true. The more resources you have, the more things you have to take care of, the more work it is. I'm not complaining about being blessed, but there's a lot more opportunity for something to go wrong if you have a lot of things moving. And if I think back, I have a different definition of failure. To me, a failure isn't a bad thing. A failure is a lesson. Now, ideally, you've positioned your life and your business so that when those failures happen, they aren't costly to the degree that it sinks what you've been building. So the real trick is, the discipline is, you don't want to try to stop failing because you're always going to fail. Failure is inevitable. It's going to happen. If you stop failing, it means you've stopped trying, you've stopped testing, you've stopped growing. You have to embrace failure, pursue failure. It's almost like if I'm teaching someone how to succeed in sales, I tell them, go after as many no's as you can get. You want to hear the word no constantly. You want to learn to love the word no. Embrace it. It means you're on the right path, because there's only so many no's before you start hearing yeses, and then you get good at hearing yeses, and you hear a lot more yeses than no's. But you always want to be hearing no, because that means you're stretching, you're expanding, you're trying. So you always want to be failing. But where you don't want to fail is the internals, the things that really matter. You don't want to fail in your faith. You don't want to fail your family. You don't want to fail in your fitness, right? You don't want to fail your friendships. You don't want those things to fall apart, those important F's that really matter. And the finances, they're going to stay solid if you keep those in line. Your business is going to be just fine. So you don't want to fail in the relational areas, the areas of life that really matter. And you're going to do great. It's okay to fail with your money, because remember, we said at the beginning of this podcast, we're taking small risks. I'm not going to go out tomorrow and put 90% of my bank account on some kind of gamble risk that I think and hope might work out. I don't care what the odds are. I'm not going to take that risk. It's just not necessary. I'm going to pursue slow and steady growth in the right direction. So absolutely, we buy products that fail. We bring new coaches onto our team that don't work out. I'll pursue a relationship with somebody and they end up not to be who I thought they were, and there's a bunch of wasted time and effort and energy. Those things happen, right? But internally, I'm protecting the things that matter the most. My relationship with my walk with God, my relationship with my wife, my kids, how I treat the people that come across my life, the respect that I show to my team, our coaches, the people who work most closely with me. I can control those things. And as long as those are under control, there's no big failure that can come along and stop the whole process. Until God takes me home, if I'm remaining faithful, there's no failure that can take me out. that's my perspective on failure. And I've never really put all those thoughts together. Hopefully that came across clearly.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for whoever might have to interpret all that into Spanish. I don't know how I did there.
Oh, no, I think it was really clearly explained. Thank you very much, Jim.
Thank you, Hector. Great question, buddy. One of my favorite questions I've been asked in a long time, actually.
Cool.
And Jim, also, I would like to get an advice from you. Like, I know you've been in this business for a long time, longer than us, and let's say, like, you're starting from zero. You don't have your silent sell machine. Your book, you haven't written it. You don't have your previous book, which is the Marketing 101.
Wow, good memory.
If I can recall. Let's say you don't have those, right? And you're just building your community. What will be your advice? Like, how would you start over if you wouldn't have any of that?
I would start by doing something that I do most days, 3 or 4 days a week. I'm out sourcing new products for my own Amazon account. Because if I'm going to teach this to people, I want to know how to do it.
Yeah, I've seen those posts.
Yeah. I mean, I'm out learning every day. And if I had to just turn off my whole community, every book I've written, delete every podcast, shut down the Facebook group, and just go find products to sell online, I'm good at it. And sure, I've got a bit of a head start on a lot of other people, but the basic concepts that I'm using, I've taught people how to become sourcers on our team. I'll give you a specific story. This is how simple this can be. I've walked into stores that are owned by, the small shops. What do you call them? When I was in Guatemala, what we call them? Bodega? Bodega? Is that right?
Yep.
So a small store where the owner is there every day and they've got the products on the shelves. And I'll walk in and I'll say, hey, I want to buy products from you. Here's Amazon.com. Have you heard of it? Like, yeah, oh, sure, I've heard of Amazon. And I'll say, when you're sitting in here, maybe you don't have much business at any given time, you got some downtime. Could you go through your store shelves and just look at products and see what they're selling for on Amazon? And if you have a product on your shelf that's selling for, say, $5 or $6, and on Amazon it's selling for, say, $20 or $25, 3 or 4 times more money, would you send me a text message and tell me about that product? Because I might buy a bunch of that from you. How long did it take to train them how to source products for me? I just did it in 45 seconds. These are not complicated concepts. I could go back and do that. And that's where we start our students out. But what you will do is you'll be in learning mode. You've always got to be learning. You'll be using your mouth to build relationships, to talk, to meet new people, to have conversations. Those are things no one can take away from me. I believe you could drop me into any city with no money, and within a few months, I'd be back in a stable financial position, not needing to rely on growing a community or having a course or a book or coaches, because the basic stuff we teach works. The world has changed to the point where any of us can have a business online if we're willing to put in a little bit of work and learn a few new skills. It's so much easier now. I almost feel like we would benefit from going back to, let's say, the mid-1960s and trying to build a business for 6-8 months. We'd all fail miserably. Just extremely difficult to build a business and to succeed during that era, anywhere in the world for the most part, unless you had a whole lot of money to put at risk. And you jump forward to now, and anybody with a few dollars and access to the internet can have an international business in a few hours. And yet we sit and we complain and we worry and we talk about the competitors and, oh no, Amazon changed its rule again. We've gotten a little complacent, I think, because we do live in the greatest time in human history to launch and grow a business. And I fully believe that if I had to start all over again, it wouldn't be that long at all before I'd have a story to tell, and I'd have people willing to listen to that story, and I'd start to grow an audience again, and I would share my story with them while I'm growing my own business, and I'd be back pretty quickly But the premise of your question is everybody who knows me has forgotten who I am. Well, that's not actually ever going to happen because I've spent 20 years pouring into the lives of others. And I know good guys like Hector and Al, and now you, Cesar, if I ever called you even a year from now, you'd take, oh, it's Jim. Great to hear from you. How can I help? Let's do something. Let's work together. There's value in that. That can't be taken from me. So that's my answer to your question, Cesar.
Sure enough. That's awesome. And before Patrino starts asking more questions, I'm gonna let you know that since I started following Hector and I took the pack and all that, I've been also blessed with I left my work, like my job last year, so I've been working from home. And I've been selling on Amazon also, and been trying to build some different income streams, like you are always talking about. So I just wanted to say thank you, like I was saying on the beginning, but I didn't want to let it pass before I tell you.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm honored. I truly am. Every time I hear about a dad who gets to be home because of something our team did around here, that is the biggest victory of my business. Because I don't know what it feels like to be a mom and get to be home. But I know what it feels like to be a dad who gets to be home. And that is the most meaningful thing. Being here for my wife and for my kids, man, it's priceless. So, man, God bless you. Thanks for telling me about that, Cesar. It makes my day every time, man.
And also, like you were saying, it's kind of difficult to live with your family, like try to get along with them since you're gone the whole day. And now that you're living with them at the same house and everything, it's kind of difficult to work something, especially with what happened on last year with the pandemic. And we were all living together 24/7. So it was kind of crazy, but we did it.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that challenge any day over being the dad who gets up at 5 a.m. and comes home an hour before his kids go to sleep. God bless the dads out there who that's their routine, and the moms and, all the single parents. God bless you. It's not an easy gig, but the challenges of all being under the same roof all day, every day, I'll take that any day over the challenge of trying to be a husband and a spouse and a parent that's gone. 5 days a week for 12 hours a day. I mean, it's unimaginable to me. And so I want to offer an alternative to those. And yeah, there's challenges being under the same roof, but man, the relationships, my kids genuinely are each other's best friends, and they truly respect and love their parents. And we're not a perfect family. We fight, we have arguments, we have disagreements, just like every family. But I'll tell one last little story, if you don't mind, on that front. This is whenever I talk about how our family fights, I say pretty much every fight my wife and I have, it's the same thing. We'll fight, we'll separate, and she'll come back on her hands and knees, crawling back to me, and she'll say, under the bed where I'm hiding, "You get out and fight like a man." So hopefully that translates into Spanish.
Yeah, it does. It can be translated to any language, I think.
Yeah. We all know how the husband-wife relationship. We all know who's truly in charge when the fight goes down. But no, I love my wife and I love being around my kids. But yeah, it's not always perfect. But man, it sure beats being separated from each other. Yeah. Well, so what else, Al? What else you got for me, buddy?
Nothing. Thank you so much. Before we go, Proving Conference is coming. Where can people reach you? Please let us know.
SilentJim.com. That's my podcast, and you can get into our Facebook group there. And yeah, we do have an event coming up in Tampa in July. If folks want to be, I don't know if many people are doing international travel these days, but certainly anyone's welcome. I'd love to have you there. theprovenconference.com if you can make it. And we've actually we've got the event in the black now. We've sold enough tickets that it's paid for itself. So now we're giving away scholarships for people who are financially challenged for one reason or another. It's been a rough year for a lot of people. So we don't want to charge people any money if that's what's going to prevent them from being there. We want them just to come, and they have to pay for your own travel. But
Cesar and I, we bought tickets last year and COVID and stuff. So we still have our tickets. So we'll see.
If you don't use them this year, you use them next year, and we'll do it again. Okay.
Yeah. No. Thank you so much, Jim. Final thoughts before we go? Something that you will.
The best thing I can possibly leave everyone with is the greatest gift I've ever been given, and that's my walk with my Heavenly Father. And I'll just say a quick prayer for the listeners, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yeah, no, go. But before you go, before that,
yes.
let me just tell you, if you need something from here, Texas or Mexico, this is your mic. Reach out to us and we work together, okay? I mean,
awesome.
Or if you want to bring somebody and want to share a message in this mic is yours. So
well, and I'll return that to you three gentlemen as well. Consider the resources and the audience and the community that we've built, this community of business building warriors, the leaders. You guys are on that team. So if you have ideas, if you see a gap that needs filled, let me know. Reach out. You see an opportunity where you need someone in the United States to partner up with you on some project, or you need some storage space or somewhere to ship some product or whatever. That's what this community is all about. We're building this stuff together. All right. So this microphone is yours as well, my friend.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Let's close this in a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for these three fantastic gentlemen. I thank you for the time we spent together. I pray that everyone who hears this message, that it will reach deep into their heart, that they will feel your truth in these words, that it will change and inspire their lives, move them down that path that you have for them. You have a plan of excellence for each of us. You have a purpose, a divine purpose for everyone who hears this. And I know that's true. And I just pray that you would help people find that. In the name of my Heavenly Father, I pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Awesome, Jim.
Thank you. See ya. We keep in touch.
Take care.
Bye.
See you soon, man.
Bye-bye.